Okay, let's look at the EU elections, country by country. Won't do all the countries, but the most significant results. For a start, I noticed the media were gloating. They were saying that, oh, the Liberal Democrat section, they've had a surge, the Greens have had a surge, and the far-right surge hasn't really materialized. The big voting blocks will be the Lib Dems, and the Greens could be the kingmakers. So I just wanted to go through that and give my analysis, because I don't think it was quite like that. First of all, the reason the Lib Dems had a boost is because Macron's party En Marche formerly weren't aligned to any of the groupings, and they've now aligned with the Lib Dems, which of course gave them a boost. The big losers around the whole of Europe were the Labour section, the centre-rights. They only gained in Spain, where they did rather well. Everywhere else, the centre-left. The centre-left only gained in Spain. The centre-right lost, but not quite as much as the centre-left. But the two centrist parties, as I long predicted, are in decline, and people are going to the extremes. I do think the Green vote is in large a protest vote. I don't think a lot of people understand what they're voting when they're voting Green. I think they they're voting for the Huggy Bear, cozy, environmentally friendly, nice people party. And they don't realize that what runs under the Green Party is almost a fascist streak, a fascist in the way of being extremely authoritarian, totalitarian, and in league with the biggest industrialists who are going to tailor their new push towards green to make that like a green bubble, like the tech bubble. There'll be a green bubble and it will benefit the very rich. I see the Green Party as basically possibly even taking us back to feudalism. Do you remember in my communism blog, I said that they always talk about the Reds versus the Whites in the Bolshevik Revolution, but they were also a party called the Greens, 700,000 of them fighting. Well, I think they're back, right? And people need to know what they're really about. So yes, the Green vote. Now, let's look at the three parties, the ECR, the kind of the reformists. Then there's Salvini, Le Pen's group, and then there's also the group that had Five Star and Brexit Party in it, or used to be UKIP. So they got 58, and 56, comes to 172. And I think the centre-right party got just a little bit more than that, 176. So that would be the biggest grouping in the whole parliament. The Brexit Party is the biggest single party in the whole parliament. And so, yeah, and so that's a very powerful bloc. Plus, if you add to that Viktor Orban's party and the Polish Freedom and Justice Party, who, as you know, are what would you say? I don't know if they're so much Eurosceptic, but they definitely are in a reformist frame of mind, and they definitely are standing up against further integration and further laws coming onto them from Europe. They're in the centre-right bloc. So when you add all those together, it forms a very, very powerful bloc. Of course, we can't deny that on the other side, the Greens, the Lib Dems, and some of the socialist parties obviously have a lot in common. But in general, it's a far more fragmented picture, which could lead to a lot more, lot less cohesion. And when there's less cohesion, there's trouble, there's problems, there's turbulence, and there's more possibility as well. Okay, yes. Right, so in France, excellent. We had a good result there because Le Pen won. They thought it wasn't by as big a margin as expected, but hey, a win is a win. Macron, Mr. Maybelline, wouldn't have liked that at all. So well done to Le Pen's party for winning there. In Italy, of course, both Lega Nord, the Brothers of Italy, and Forza Italia did really well. They're all, Eurosceptic right-wing parties, nationalist parties, and although Five Star, they didn't do too well, but on the other hand, these others did so. In Sweden, the Swedish Democrats came third, so that's really good. The AFD got 10%, which was a big increase for them. Bearing in mind, they're still a very, very young party. Greens obviously did well there. Angela Merkel's party losing ground, but Germans are still quite conservative. They're still sticking with the centre-right parties. But again, because of the showing that Angela Merkel had, and because of the weakening of her sister party, it looks like anything could happen in Germany in the next few months. There could be some elections coming because of the weakening, basically, of the coalition there that Angela Merkel has and the poor showing they had in this election. So we're heading for a vote of no confidence and a new German government that could shake things up there. Vox came from nothing to 3 seats, although, as I said, Labour did well in Spain, but there we go, Vox they're on the board, right? Holland, basically the same result. I think 1 seat was lost. Kurt Wilders had 4. Thierry Baudy has got 3. So in Holland. Belgium was a win-win for us, a big swing to the right. In Finland, the Finns party retained their 2 votes. Otherwise, it was mainly a swing to the centre-right. In Ireland, the Green Party did very well. It's interesting in Ireland that people are beginning to reject Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and also Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin are really shocked by the result they had in Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and they're looking for a whole root and branch review of what the hell is going wrong. I'm going to tell you what's going wrong. Sinn Féin actually did quite well in Northern Ireland, where they had 2 Sinn Féin, 1 Brexit party. I think that fairly accurately reflects the feeling in Northern Ireland, isn't it? 2/3 Remain, 2/3 not. I think people in Ireland are realising Sinn Féin is not the party they pretend to be, similar to the Catalan Party, similar to the Scottish Nationalist stroke, what I call the Scottish Communist Party. They're actually pro-European, pro-mass migration. I don't think that fits in what we all thought of Sinn Féin was like an Irish nationalist movement. All these nationalist movements, like Irish nationalism, Scottish nationalism, have actually been hijacked by globalists, and they're all about the global themes. Like I said, open borders, the gender issues, mass migration, that's what they're really about. So they're not really about protecting identity or national identity at all. So it really is a big con. Maybe people in Ireland are waking up to that. I think there's still quite a lot of pro-EU forces going forward in the EU Parliament, but it's definitely been a step forward. With the biggest country like Italy rocking the boat as much as they are, it's a very, very positive thing. I think they're not as brave in Europe as us Brits are. They don't have the pluckiness that we do to go straight for the Brexit party. So that is those are the results. And I say it's a very good picture because the Eurosceptic parties have grown their share of the pie. And when combining with Viktor Orban and the Polish party, I think they form a very strong bloc. And as I said to you before, I think there's going to be a shake-up in terms of the groupings. There'll be a realignment and a possible mix. So going forward, the current groupings we see won't be exactly the same. They could be different. And now we await. It'll be November the 2nd before any new commissioners are elected. So no change on that sphere. So now we've just got to see what's going to happen. And I suppose it's up to me to be looking hard at the charts to find out if we're going to have second referendum, general election, or whether a new Tory leader is actually going to come up with something. Do they all have to throw their hat into the ring? Because I'm looking at this candidate list. Just now, old Gavin Williamson and Failing Grayling will have their hat there. Actually, there is no shame in this bum fight for the Tory leadership. I think they should just step aside, narrow it down to 3, get their egos off the shelf. Because a lot of people are standing in that, and I'm thinking, come on. I'm sorry, you've been a minister for a few minutes. You haven't had an extremely challenging portfolio. What do you actually have to show for it? I'm not quite sure you're up for this, really. I don't, a lot of them, I don't know what they're thinking. I think their egos have totally got carried away. Jonathan, I think the rise in the Greens was the establishment going on about climate change. Yes, I think so. I think that was probably, get all this Extinction Rebellion protests on people's minds before they go and vote. I've heard so many people say they vote in Green just as a protest vote. They honestly don't understand what they're about. But I suppose they feel, well, it's a vote for the environment. What could be wrong with that? Well, a lot could be wrong with that, I'm afraid. With Sinn Féin Remain as a campaigning with ex-terrorists, and they say we're the fascists. Well, as I said, Jonathan, I did that whole video on what fascism really is. And I know Sargon was talking about it with Milo in some of his roadshows. And they went into it in quite a lot of detail in terms of the Mussolini's doctrine that he wrote up, or his, what would you call it, his manifesto, where it explains fascism. And people have got it all up the spout. But I will talk more about it. Just to give you a little review in the next few days, I'm going to do one about the similarities between the EU and the reform USSR. It's quite interesting. I'm going to look at how narcissism is another one of these misused words that is used to label people. It's another one from the lexicon of leftist slur words for conservatives. So I want to look at the real meaning of narcissism and how they are the true narcissists in every form of the word. So that's 2 things. I might return to the whole fascism thing. But no, I'm sorry. We are furthest from the fascists. We are the free speech people. We're the small government people. We're the individual freedom people. We're the people who want deregulation. This is all total opposite of fascism. But I think a lot of these idiots who chant these words, they don't have, it's an ad hominem attack, isn't it? They don't have the verbal ability or the depth of knowledge to argue their point. And so they shout slogans which have been force-fed to them by an ignorant and activist media.